Welcome back, Focus Learners, to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide today. We've got a massive influx of information from May 30th, 2026, and we're going to distill the whole shebang right down into clear, structured takeaways. We've got an incredibly diverse array of stories on the docket, and my goal, to give you the most efficient, unbiased, and frankly fascinating breakdown possible. Let's get right into it.
I mean, think about it. From international peace pacts literally hanging by a thread in the Middle East, all the way to a solitary hiker fighting for their life against a mountain lion in California, what defined the world today? It's this wild spectrum of human experience, right? We've got massive geopolitical shifts happening at the exact same time as deeply personal life-or-death moments. Our job today is to connect those dots.
To organize all this chaos, we're using a global-to-local funnel. We'll kick things off with global conflicts and aerospace, then move into justice, crime, and unrest. From there, we'll hit infrastructure and local governance, and wrap up with sports and astonishing survival. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Global Conflicts and Aerospace, or, as I like to call it, high-stakes geopolitics. We're stepping right into the heaviest, most volatile stories dominating the global monitors today.
The diplomatic bottleneck right now regarding the U.S.-Iran peace pact is pretty striking. On one hand, Washington is projecting this strong optimism. They're saying a 60-day ceasefire extension and a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz are super close. Though to be fair, the defense secretary firmly notes the military is totally ready to resume operations if that truce lapses. But then, on the flip side, Tehran is publicly accusing the U.S. of betraying diplomacy entirely with what they call excessive one-sided demands. It is a razor-thin balancing act with both sides dug in on very contrasting positions.
And, as those negotiations stalled, the military realities on the ground persist. Debris from an intercepted Iranian Fateh 110 ballistic missile actually struck the Ali al-Salam airbase in Kuwait. We're looking at mild injuries to 5 American servicemen and contractors, plus some heavy damage to 2 U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drones. Honestly, it's a stark reminder of the kinetic risks constantly looming over the diplomatic table.
We're also tracking some severe military escalation further west. Let's trace this timeline, because it's crucial. Back on April 17th, the truce line was established in Lebanon. Fast forward a bit, through late May, and we saw heavy Israeli Air Force airstrikes near the historic Beaufort Castle, pushing past that initial line. And today, May 30th, ground tracking confirms Israeli troops have advanced directly to the outskirts of Nabatea. This progression, it clearly marks a major geographical and tactical expansion of the conflict.
Shifting our focus from borders up into the skies, the aerospace sector is reeling from a huge setback today. A massive Blue Origin rocket has suffered what analysts are straight up calling a catastrophic explosion. Right now, as we speak, federal inspectors and engineers are on site assessing some severe structural damage to the launch complex itself. It's a massive blow to commercial aerospace engineering, and an investigation of this scale is going to take months to untangle.
Moving on to Section 2, Justice, Crime, and Unrest. These are our domestic flashpoints. We are funneling down from international borders into localized criminal justice and civil unrest.
Okay, so massive, week-long street protests outside a federal ICE facility in New Jersey are acting as a major flashpoint over the administration's strict immigration policies. The unrest happening outside is in direct solidarity with hundreds of undocumented detainees inside the facility. Those detainees have launched a coordinated hunger strike to protest what they allege are inhumane living conditions. It's an incredibly tense, highly visible domestic standoff.
Heading up to British Columbia, local panic is suddenly intersecting with international organized crime. Abbotsford police just uncovered this chilling, highly direct extortion letter sent by an Indian criminal syndicate. What intelligence experts are pointing out, and the reason this really matters to our broader understanding today, is that this isn't just some isolated event. It paints a very disturbing picture of a deep, expanding footprint of overseas organized crime rings operating within South Asian diaspora communities right across North America.
Staying with that theme of cross-border crime in Canada, we've got a major judicial development out of Ontario. Canadian citizen Kenneth Law has officially entered a guilty plea. So, the crucial point to take away here is the sheer global scope of this. He was running an online operation that marketed and shipped lethal substances to vulnerable individuals literally all over the world. The digital nature of this operation linked him to scores of tragic deaths globally, which really just highlights the terrifying reach of cyber-facilitated crimes today.
Now, shifting from the digital realm to a very urgent physical situation on the streets of Toronto. A massive manhunt is currently underway in North York. Tragically, a 27-year-old man was shot and killed just steps away from his own home. Police have confirmed the victim had absolutely zero criminal ties. They are actively hunting 3 suspects right now, and they're urgently pleading with the public to submit any dashcam footage that might show a dark-colored vehicle in that area.
Down in the British Virgin Islands, a rise in regional safety concerns is triggering a massive policy reaction. Because of a severe spike in commercial robberies, the BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association is demanding immediate action, and their proposed solution? Aggressive lobbying to force the local government to reform firearm laws, specifically to allow licensed business owners to carry defensive weapons. It perfectly illustrates how a localized crime wave can directly trigger sweeping, systemic lobbying efforts.
All right, let's take a breath and move to Section 3, Infrastructure and Local Governance, or Building the Future. We're going to lower the tension just a bit and focus on regional development and how communities are adapting.
Sticking with the British Virgin Islands for a second, we have 2 distinct governance stories that represent a major push for Caribbean autonomy and global connectivity. First up, the Health Services Authority just appointed what they are pointedly calling their last foreigner CEO. The ultimate goal there? A permanent administrative pivot toward domestic leadership. At the exact same time, over in Tortola's infrastructure department, they're finalizing engineering contracts to extend their long-delayed international runway. They want to bring in those larger transatlantic flights. Together, it's this really fascinating dual strategy, empowering local leadership while expanding international reach.
Now here's a super unique governance story out of Athens, Clarke County, down in the U.S. Mayor Kelly Girtz is pushing an aggressive fiscal budget right before the June 9th adoption deadline, which actually coincides with his final months in office. But what makes this so incredibly interesting is the specific integration of heavy community investments into sustainable urban programs and, get this, eco-fashion infrastructure. Yeah, eco-fashion. It's a highly targeted, almost out-of-the-box push to cement a green, sustainable legacy before his term wraps up.
Okay, Section 4, Sports and Astonishing Survival. Time for some triumphs and thrills. Let's pivot, release all that tension we've built up from the earlier news blocks, and end on a really upbeat note. We're diving into incredible victories and sheer human resilience.
In the world of sports, it literally does not get bigger than this. We've got a historic UEFA Champions League final clash happening in Budapest Puskás Arena. On one side, you have Arsenal. They are the newly crowned English Premier League champions, making their first UCL final appearance since 2006, and they boast the tournament's best defense. On the other side, Paris Saint-Germain, the defending European champions renowned for having the best attack. It is the ultimate tactical showdown. The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. An absolute clash of titans.
And speaking of making history, it has officially been made in women's hockey. The Montreal Victoire have brought home the coveted Walter Cup. This makes them the very first Canadian franchise to capture the Professional Women's Hockey League Championship. Literally thousands of ecstatic fans flooded downtown Montreal for a massive parade to celebrate this milestone. It is just a colossal moment for women's hockey and Canadian sports history as a whole.
Finally, we have a story of sheer, undeniable human resilience out of California. During a remote hike, a local woman had a terrifying close-range encounter with a mountain lion. But incredibly, and I mean incredibly, she managed to fight back and successfully ward off the predator with her bare hands. Now, while she thankfully survived the ordeal, she did sustain major injuries, which has prompted California wildlife authorities to launch a comprehensive safety review. It's a miraculous escape that just leaves you in absolute awe of our core human survival instincts. No way you hear that and aren't totally amazed.
And honestly, that brings us right full circle, from international peace packs in the Middle East hanging by a thread to a lone hiker fighting off a mountain lion with her bare hands. How do these extremes shape our understanding of a single day on Earth? It really reminds us that our world is simultaneously fragile, complex, terrifying, and deeply, deeply inspiring. I hope this structured look helped you wrap your head around the incredible events of May 30th, 2026. Keep asking questions, keep looking for the structure hidden in the chaos, and above all, stay curious. We'll see you on the next Explainer.